folks, because we owe them a review now, why don't you take a few minutes, maybe about 10, and review this new Michael Jackson album, Xscape. You had a chance to check it out. I've only listened to Invincible, and I'm a Michael Jackson fan, but it might shock some people. I don't own his albums. I've listened to them throughout the years. There's been albums that I've checked out, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good, but I'm not like a huge Michael Jackson fan like that. But Tammy here is a huge Michael Jackson fan, and I can definitely tell you guys, like, as far as, what was that? Invincible came out, what, 2001?
Something like that.
Something like that.
The year escapes me.
Yeah, or something. But, when I was checking out that album, like I told you real quickly, I liked the first 7 tracks. It was nice and smooth. It had a nice, good R&B groove to it. It was kind of like, man, you could just make babies listening to them first 7 songs. That's just how good it was. Good slow jamming, those first 7 tracks.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it was kind of like, after track 7, it was like, what happened to the baby making music? What happened? It just kind of, it was like he kept trying to look for his next Free Willy / You Are Not Alone song on the rest of the tracks. And that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. You can give me one like that. You can give me one Free Willy. You can give me one You're Not Alone. But just basically have, like... Yeah. And Janet kind of does the same thing, too. Like, I noticed with the 2 Jacksons, for the most part, they kept doing these albums with, like, 18, 19 tracks. It's like, you don't... I know it's been some years since you put out an album, but you don't need to go all out like that. Keep it simple. Trim the fat. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. I'm just talking about Invincible. We're talking about the new album, Xscape. So you go ahead, review it for the folks, and we'll jump back in. We'll give the folks some entertainment headlines, and we'll wrap things up.
Well, with Michael's new album, Xscape, for me, it was something, it was like, let's just check this out, see what's up. For me, I happen to enjoy the album. I am a Michael Jackson fan, always have been since the age of 5. And it's kind of a funny story. When I was, 5 or 6, I would listen to Michael Jackson on my little, radio player, which actually was at that point a record player. And I would just jump on the bed and I'm listening to Michael Jackson's, I think it was Beat It. And, at that point I was just dancing and so on and so forth. And there's a couple of the parts in there where it's some cussing and, being 6, 7 years old. My mom was like, I don't know about that. We don't want you listening to that too much longer. So, of course, that was like, okay, no more of that for Michael. But let's get back on track a little. The track listing consists of, first track is Love Never Felt So Good. That track, actually, if you're seeing one of the car commercials, I don't know which one, but one of the new car commercials actually has that song in the background. For me, love this song. It's probably my favorite out of the whole album. As of 1 through 5, I'd give it a definite 5. With the deluxe album, you actually get the original cut and the remix cut. So it's the original version that Michael did, plus the remix that they kind of hyped up the background and put some spins on it, so on and so forth. So Chicago, it didn't really gel with me when I first heard it. It was kind of like, yeah, okay. But the second time was like, okay, tapping my foot to it. The third track is Loving You, and that's not too bad. As far maybe a 3. The whole album as a whole, actually, Rolling Stone gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I totally agree with that. A Place with No Name, it's kind of funny. I didn't really care for it the first time I heard it, but I found myself kind of humming that today for some reason. Slave to the Rhythm, and that's track number 5. It's okay. It's not, that one that jumps out at you. Number 6, Do You Know Where Your Children Are? For some reason, that just seems to be like, okay, Michael Jackson's a father now. This is, a song for them. I honestly, it was just okay to me. I didn't really, it wasn't like, okay, you know what, I'm going to rush out and buy this particular track. No. Let's see. The track number 7 is Blue Gangster. And that actually was really neat. It reminded me a lot of Smooth Criminal. And the last one is track number 8. And that's the Xscape track, which is the title album. That was really nice. I like the beat to that quite a bit. As we said, the overall review, I would definitely agree with Rolling Stone. A 3.5 out of 5. Absolutely. Absolutely. And apparently I heard that with this album, this was some unreleased music that Michael had in his vaults, if you will. That basically once he had passed, that this would be something that would be unreleased material so that at that time it would be able to make money for his kids. So it sounds like he was already planning for what ifs. So interesting, to hear that. But a true Michael fan will love this album because they just happen to love everything he puts out. It sounds like it was kind of the recording somewhere between maybe 1989 to 1990-ish, 2000. So it could be anywhere between those years. But it reminded me a lot of Invincible. I kind of agree with Lee as far as Invincible. The first half is awesome. The second is kind of where, okay, we go a little more mellow, and it's like he said, the Free Willy, and, a song kind of beat that's kind of slow and just, okay, so I got all that fast stuff out of the way and so on and so forth, and now it's the slowdown. So I honestly, for Invincible, I happen to like the whole album. I guess once you listen to, a particular album long enough, it just sticks with you. And this is no exception to the new one.
You just had to make sure you defended Invincible there.
Well, I can't help it. It's actually one of my favorites. As a true Michael Jackson fan, I can't dog much of anything he does.
I respect that. What do you guys think about the new Michael Jackson Xscape album? Why don't you share your comments with us? You can do so by hitting us up on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook at Infinity One Productions, and hey, this excerpt will actually be available on YouTube. So make sure you show it some love and comment on there.